We gotta find. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find. The program find. Find. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find. The program find. Find. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find. The program find. Find.
What's up, guys and gals?
That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find. The program find. Find. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find.
Video gaming,
The program find.
video gaming, later on.
Find. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue.
From. So I will be making videos throughout the day. They'll be coming out late.
That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find. The program find. Find. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Find. The program find. Find. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue.
Let's try that again. What's going on, guys? Hope everyone is doing great out there. So today we are going to be reviewing Will of the Fans, one of the anti-wokers there. This is part of my little weekend series where I'm going over all the anti-wokers I can find in the anti-woke movement, and we'll see kind of how they hold up against scrutiny, who is good and who is just making shit up for clicks. So let's get started today. Let's get me up on screen there. My little wiggler moving. And then boom. Gotta get this all set up here and ready to go. Just bear with me. Where are we at? Window. Yeah, window capture right there. Boom. Boom. There we go. Here is old Will of the Fans. First video we're going to watch is going to be, let's see what McDizzle thinks he has on Smashjt'S. It's hyperdrive time. I don't know what hyperdrive time is. But anyway, I've already pre-watched this one and his other video on Smash. I'm not too impressed, but we're going to go through and I'm going to give my opinions on his defense of Smashjt'S.
You are coping
Oh god, I forgot this.
Meme.
All right, there we go.
Another voyage of discovery racing through the wastes of the internet to the further reaches of sanity on a never-ending quest to rid the universe of absolute bollocks. Before we set off, please ensure that you keep your brains inside the vehicle at all times with your
Okay. Already I noticed this little fun fact right here. All of them do this. I don't mind, because they're constantly called grifters, and I don't think the word fits. I think the word is overused. But it's so overused in their, I don't want to say defense, but what's the word? It's just overused. Like I get it. They're making fun of the people calling them grifters, and that's great because I think that's just a dumb way to view their content as grifters. I don't think most of them are grifters. But every one of them have some grift name or something like that. It's just overplayed.
eyeballs firmly screwed to the screen. So then, let's see who's along for the ride today. Because, of course, I need to know if you guys can hear me after that one time boom at the internet. Doesn't it have?
Okay.
Told you I'd boom or something. All right now. There is my doomometer. I really want to kill some demons today. It's been too long. I haven't played it. I'm getting the bloodlust. Every day I managed to boom at this before I go live. It was only a matter of time until eventually. Do we have a bar that actually has a sensible number on it now? Excellent. Thank you for pointing that out, chat. What would I do without you? Of course, I would be nothing to no one. So that's important. All right. Who is here so far? Sardox Spamfish says hello. Hi, everyone, rather. Corny Puddle says
Okay. Cool.
There we go. Genti Max, everyone.
Cool.
Now it's buzzer enough. Now because
Okay.
at the reactionaire level. Appreciate you. Appreciate you very much. Lilith is here. Says hi, Will. You gave
Okay. How many?
It's the woke, whether it's the radical Christians or indeed the fake Gamergators stream. Then understand why everyone gets on this guy's tits so much. I think it's just on that because it's just becoming a grenade. Right, that's right. And thank you very much, Prater Mind, for joining at the reactionaire level. Appreciate you. Appreciate you very much. Lilith is here. James up, considering how many weird little fragmented groups we seem to be splintering off into. I don't know about you guys, but I as much as I will pay attention to some of the infighting and drama, which is more or less what this entire stream is going to be about today, because it's relevant to trying to get to the bottom of things. I personally would much prefer if we could all just realign and focus on the actual cause, which was.
So this is kind of a first point, like, that I noticed with Will is Will doesn't seem to really care about the truth. He just wants everybody to be on the same page. You heard the kind of the little mix. He's probably going to say it again of the fake Gamergate people, but in reality, that message of Gamergate is lost.
Removing propaganda from gaming so that we could actually have a bit of truth, a little bit of reliable journalism wouldn't go amiss either. But a few active grenades have been.
Spoiler alert: your leader there has interacted in bat or has words. He's done bad journalism. Let's just get down to simple. He's done the thing that you're talking about now.
Launched over the last couple of few hours, let's just say that. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at a whole bunch of that because it's just becoming a jungle out there. Everybody's trying to one up everybody else with some kind of major gotcha moment, and it is getting to be complete cringe. We've seen, of course, what's been going on between various members of the Bigotverse and JDA. We'll be touching on that. You better believe we will. We also have seen more from Alyssa, the perennial enemy.
Okay. All right. I'm so tired of hearing them talk about Alyssa. Like every other Smash video is Alyssa, and I get it. He's the one involved in the case, right? He's the one getting sued. So he talks about it a lot. I mean, every time Alyssa's lawyer farts, he tells us about it. But why do all of his orbiters just parrot the same information? Like, when you get more information, I guess put it out, but it seems to always be a huge deal every single time Smash puts out something in there.
And of course, Smashjt'S is continually under attack from all sides, whether it's the woke, whether it's the radical Christians, or indeed the fake Gamergators. So
yeah, see, already disingenuous. It's the fake Gamergators. It couldn't possibly be that people are critical of Smash. Sure, there's the fucking crazies that come out there, but there's a difference between crazy people and fucking criticism. And Smash has proven he's not very good at taking criticism.
Oh, yeah, poor bastard. Honestly, poor bastard. I just don't understand why everyone gets on this guy's tits so much. I think it's probably got something to do with why 69% of the vote right now have gone with money, jealousy, and gayness as the reason. So there's that. James, I'm glad you're loving it. That's my I need to let off some steam game. Do you know that is exactly what 2016 was for me as well? Doom 2016. Sometimes just driving around on this island where I live will make you want to absolutely murder some peeps. Not literally, of course. YouTube, don't censor me. And the best and most constructive way to do that is either to fire up Grand Theft Auto 5, or if you're really in a foul mood, start ripping the heads off demons in Doom. And that's what we'll be doing. Are we to get to goal by the end of this stream? Now, of course, the membership grift doesn't fill up the bar, but I'll keep a track of that myself. Thank you very much. All right, who else is here? Rio is here. Hello, and shout out to you as well. Vet Gamer Bocephus, shout out to you. So, welcome back to Hyperdrive Time, guys. And of course, don't forget
okay,
that if you are
Hyperdrive Time
liking the
is
stream, then you know.
Like the stream.
A nice pull in there from a bigger creator. That's cool. Ultimately, let me say this, there's nothing wrong with that. Oh yeah, ultimately there's nothing wrong with that.
Who would have thought liking?
I guess it's weird that he just has a screen of him versus like I've seen what's his face, Hypno, go into chat and talk for him. I think that's cool. Come on the show, things like that, but having a whole screen to it, little cringe.
In the stream actually does benefit the stream and actually benefit you guys too. As everybody knows, the more you like the stream, the more people get recommended it, the more people come in, the more friends we all make along the way. Good old times. Pick up the lost souls.
Friends along the way, that's friends that'll say the talking points you like. I went into Will's one of Will's streams. I wanted to see what it was about. I think I was fairly cordial in chat. I did make a comment about something being gay, and then I was instantly timed out for a little bit. I went to my alt account, my well-hidden alt account, not Wargaming Dad, and went back in. He timed out that one, and then eventually he stopped timing me out. But there was just kind of a point where it happened.
Your in-flight entertainment, as was discovered by Prey Mind already, with Spears and Alyssa's in chat, can be found by hitting the join button and joining the Griff Force. It's cheap and it helps keep the ship in the skies. And if you have any questions, comments, or you just want to pull over for a second, don't forget to toss a coin to your grifter. Tip your driver. With all of that said, we're going to go ahead and start everything. But first, James Up has got the idea. For $2 says check DM for JDA drop if you did not miss it. Okay, well, I'll be honest with you, man. I hit my absolute limit of patience with JDA over the last 12 hours or so, to the point where I just became physically unable to reply to anything this guy writes about me or my friends without getting myself banned. So you are looking at another 7-day ban for Will of the Fans. If you want to follow me on X, you need to go follow Will of the Bands. Only for the next few days anyway, for a week actually, and then we'll get back down to business as soon as we can.
What could he possibly say on X that gets him banned? I wonder. JDA. I may try and look up that later. I mean, you got to say something pretty unhinged to get a ban. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see.
But in the meantime, I just decided, right, that's it. That's it. I'm literally just going to get myself in trouble if I continue to engage with this guy. He's got some kind of God-given gift for getting under everybody's skin. He's exceptionally good at it, like a true career grifting politician. So not sure what you're linking me at the moment, James, but it might have something to do with what I've got, which is a nice big article that got dropped all about the man himself. But let's have a look then. I guess you've linked me something here. What we got? All right, I'll bring it up on screen and let's take a look. 1 second. And of course, thank you very much for the $2. All right, then. Let's get this on screen. We'll take a look. That's how we like to do things around here for Hyperdrive.
He knows he can set this up so that it makes the noises for him. I think he's the one hitting the button. I guess do it however you want to do it.
Time, anything can happen on the show because something, as you've discovered, no doubt, watching this, any bit of news might just break while I'm live, as does tend to happen. I guess it's got something to do with the time of day that it is in America when I'm streaming right now. Because things, what the God's sakes. Okay. This is what you shared to me? All right. This doesn't look particularly good. Oh, wow. This is old. The Soy Child sounds hot. What the... This is, of course, interactions between Ethan Van Sciver and John Delarose that used to happen quite often because JDA was supposedly part of Comicsgate, just like he's supposedly part of Gamergate, but only ever ends up causing division in any group.
See, there it is again. Only ever causing division. it doesn't seem that Will really cares about the truth of gaming. He doesn't really care about, spreading the message. He wants everyone to stay on point. He wants everyone to be friendly, talking points. It's just he has no will to want to correct anything, and we're gonna see that here in his coverage of Smashjt'S.
That he happens to belong to, which is why I tweeted him some days ago now when he started turning on me and turning on everybody else. And the reason he turned on me, of course, was because I wouldn't allow him to go into my group chats and start dropping fucking fake cancellation complaints against Smashjt'S and Hypnotic, reminding him that they are my friends. And when he continued,
Okay. So if they're your friends, you're just gonna endlessly sweep for them, is what you're saying. I mean, sure, they're your friends, and you're gonna have a bias there. You may say, "Hey, I'm gonna step back and try and look at this critically," or something. But just to flat out say, "No, I'm not gonna," I don't know. That's kind of crazy to me.
to try and do that shit with everybody else as well, that was enough for me. So what the hell is this? Do I want to click on this, or is this just a picture? This is just a picture, but well, there he is sitting with a obvious beast. Gotta be a bit careful with my words, apparently. Apparently, if you make too much of a mockery of the trans community, guys, then you're obviously committing some kind of hate crime. They are a protected class, after all, as Hypnotic found out after reacting to the Michael Knowles clip with that crazy dude that was yelling in his face a couple days ago. Hilarious clip. Funnily enough, I was planning to react to that as well, but then Hip basically told us it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it for the trouble you might get into with YouTube. So screw that shit. Okay. Ethan Van Skyver asks JDA, what the fuck is going on? He replies, Trans lady runs a group that arms LGBT folk and teaches them to defend themselves and to shoot rifles. Someone awesome and not to be messed with. Are you sure about that? What is there any position? Is there any position at all that John Delarose claims to hold?
Okay, hold on. What is he trying to say here? Is it? Oh, I think I skipped through a lot of this portion to get to the actual Smashjt'S stuff. Okay. I don't know what John Delarose is trying to say, but anyone who is arming and teaching gun safety to somebody is okay in my book. I don't really give a shit about trans and all this other stuff. So let's see what he says about this.
Any position at all that John Delarose claims to hold that he hasn't at some point totally undermined in his past? Any position. We're going to find out at some point, like literally, that he used to go around punching priests or something. It's gonna happen. They're just smoking guns everywhere, and the guy just doesn't give a shit. Doesn't give a shit.
What are these smoking guns that are everywhere? Like, if you've got it, blow the guy up. If he's such a problem on your side, fucking show it.
Which actually is probably the right attitude to take if someone is constantly outing you for being a duplicitous liar. I mean, I'm not saying it's morally or ethically the right position to take, but strategically ignoring the crap that comes your way and just continuing to farm interaction and engagement on X. Cynical as fuck, but it works.
Is he talking about Grums or JDA?
And that basically is all this dude ever does. Madness. What you guys saying in chat? You got any more context for me? Scroll down. Okay, I'm not about to get something really horrible, am I? First furries and now truths too. Oh right, we've as a group, people have discovered this. Then, dude, your ever expanding fetishes are simply weird AF. Well, this is interesting. Hey Mario Kart. Hey Cassie, get a load of this. It's a man in a wig, you buffoon. Dude. There just is no position this man will not take, is there? Fuck it. You know what? Let's play the damn song. Let's
Okay, but what's his position on there? What I got from it is trans people are getting taught gun control or getting taught gun safety. What is that? I don't personally see the problem there. I don't care. Everyone who wants to pick up a pistol should go through some form of training. And I don't care that this guy specifically chooses trans.
play the damn song. That always makes me feel bad.
Jesus Christ, this guy is, fuck me.
Ugh. Man, it is just baffling. You know, like, I don't claim to be a perfect and moral, like, person. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not. I'm just saying I've never made any, like, sweeping declarations to that effect, unlike someone like JDA, who does constantly. But
Okay, you keep saying does constantly, but I need more than just this. Like this isn't amoral. Teaching gun safety is not amoral, no matter not no matter who you're choosing to. There are cases if you're training a terrorist organization or something like that. But to the populace, who cares?
I've never seen
Does-
someone who is so impossible to pin down on any ethical or moral issue. And thank you for the compliment. Yeah, I had a bit of fun making that. That's what I do. I work around with some AI, and create some songs, and just have some fun with them. That's how pretty much everything on my channel that's musical was created. And one day I might even make a video for it once I get my time machine going and I discover
Yeah,
I'm more
okay.
tired. This cat, like, it's just very strange. You just cannot get a read on this cat. Like, no matter what.
Okay, I gotta speed this up. I will say I think the biggest problem, besides his bad takes and his anything else, is that no, I don't need a sleep timer. Let's pop it up here. Is Will of the Fans is incredibly boring. He is not entertaining like some of his other
The issue is,
constituents.
he'll say something, and then a couple of years later, he'll have the complete opposite opinion. This is cockroach behavior, okay? Like, anything to survive, anything to stay relevant. When you stand for everything, you stand for nothing. All right, and that is what I think is probably the thing that really gets under my skin the most. And I don't even mind telling you that that is something that gets under my skin, because it fucking does get under my skin. Pick a fucking lane and stay there, and just try to be consistent. Just even for a year, just consistent about one issue would just be lovely at this point. So yeah, that's what frustrates the fuck out of me more than anything, is that, like, there's just no group, no cause, no stance, no position the guy will not turn around and throw under the bus at any moment that it becomes politically advantageous to him to do so. It's fucking infuriating. Really, it really is. Drives you crazy. Since you brought it to me early, I guess we'll segue into one of the things that I was made aware of a few hours ago through the usual channels, the alliance of Bigot First related channels, and that would be this, which was shared by Czar Double D, which I'm sure you can probably figure out what kind of account that is. This person seems to really enjoy posting nice rendered images of, shall we say, do anything on X when you're banned. You can't even share, like, images in a DM. It's insane. Oh well, I'll be back for you at some point in the future, Czar Double D. Don't let me forget. Anyway, this is what appears to be, at least, a rather lengthy article. And when I say rather lengthy, I mean really, really lengthy.
Jesus Christ.
Article generated by Grok. Something that is freaking terrifying to think of the implications for in just a few years from now. But this is an article published by Czar Double D called "A Background on Gamergate at John Della Rose," because it does appear that I'm not sure where exactly we are in the future history of this particular gentleman. No, that's not the right word. Fucking gooning spaz. But I think we're almost at the point now where, you get to the point in a movie or a story or a book where, like, the bad guy has been caught, has been dethroned, has been, has lost an awful lot of their clout, and they're trying to escape only to find their own previous allies and accomplices surrounding them, and then they end up devouring them as the
Uh,
screen, tilts up to the sky or whatever. Feels like we're almost at that point now because there's almost no one that he hasn't pissed off at some point. Gamergate can't stand him. The Doctor Who fandom can't stand him.
I hate that they've taken the term Gamergate in on themselves. Their movement is nothing like what Gamergate was, and it's just it's sad.
Comicsgate can't stand him. And when you know that Comicsgate and Gamergate already don't like each other because of their very often conflicting opinions on the Ripperverse, you know that, like, if you've alienated everyone, you have no friends at all. And that's why everyone's turning. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and have a little read of this. Not the whole thing by any stretch of the imagination, because we have a lot to get through and a whole video to react to in the back end of the stream. So let's have a look. Key points. John Delarose is a science fiction author and comic creator known for controversies involving harassment, legal battles,
All right.
in association with the alt-right Comicsgate movement. I hate the term alt-right, but I'll allow it for our mutual benefit. Grok. He was banned from Worldcon in 2018 for alleged harassment, leading to a
I hate it too. It's another dumb word, like woke, like Nazi, like alt left, like all the others.
lawsuit settled with an apology and $4,000 compensation. Apparently, he was the one who got paid the $4,000. Accusations include identity theft. This one, I mean, I don't know how you can just call that an accusation at this point. I mean, it was literally on a live stream that it was discovered he was logged in on that account. Cassie famously posted that and pushed it. And the more anyone looked into it, the more we discovered what was going on. People found the Daniela Acera account.
Unfortunately, I can't talk much on this situation. I don't know JDA. I've seen a couple of his posts, but it's hard to say the validity of any of this information.
And then, of course, discovered the actual identity of the woman whose picture he's using, who then herself came out and disavowed him and claimed and then accused him of stealing her identity. And considering that this woman is in fact this woman, and the fact that on this very show last week I found a clip of her fully on camera and talking, there's no accusation left. This is a fact, unless someone else with access to his computer is logged in on that account, in which case it's not much better.
I can't speak much on this. Like, just saying it's a fact. If she got on and said something, sure, but them saying something happened isn't 100% a fact. I don't know. I can't argue this because I don't know the full details of it. We may just skip ahead of this to something more interesting.
Anyway, using a woman's photo for book sales and involvement in driving someone to unable.
Let's see here.
Part of Gamergate. And if you actually know that these things are not, in
uh,
fact, as constantly falsely reported, harassment campaigns are not
I don't
a
care
harassment
about
campaign,
Alyssa
not a bullying tactic,
McConaughey.
not out to target any particular group of people, but instead exist entirely to oppose
Okay,
into the
let's see
world
here.
while also disguising himself as a morally virtuous, Christian. I just find it very difficult to believe that a person can exist like this. I think I recently, in one of our chats with the boys, compared him to Walter White, but where Walter White actually set out to turn into Heisenberg, instead of that happening as a byproduct of him pursuing more and more and more and more money and trying just to survive. That's what happens to Walter White. He gradually becomes Heisenberg, who's a monster. This is more like someone going, I'm going to tank my entire life and become a real piece of shit, evil bastard. Like, I genuinely am having to wonder aloud whether that is exactly what his mission is, to become as degenerate, debauched, controversial, and pure fucking evil as possible. Because I just don't know that kind of evil can that happened after, of course, McDizzle tried to
Oh, here we go.
situation. So basically, so yeah, your mileage may vary, but I doubt it. Yeah. Thanks again, James. All right, well, there you go. Now, onward to the sort of main event.
All right.
Because
all right.
obviously, over the last few days, we have seen a certain situation surrounding Smashjt'S and that McDizzle chump start to get blown out of proportion. It's all happening. And one of the things that happened after, of course, McDizzle tried to use, pursuit of journalistic integrity as a shield to mask otherwise what is just an attempt to smear someone more successful. Well, the time
Already poisoning the well. It can't possibly be that you could think critically on how Smashjt did it. You immediately got to start sweeping.
has passed on, and he did say he was going to publish a video, and then he didn't. So I thought, okay, well, I guess he's realized that he has no legs to stand on whatsoever. McDizzle, that is. But no, it was just apparently taking a while. We now have that video. We now have the video titled The Yellow Journalism of Smashjt Exposed. Now, obviously, you guys know full well Smashjt is someone I consider a friend, but if I were to be trying to be just objective, I would still have to say the net result of Smashjt's engagement in Gamergate has been a hell of a lot of really, really solid journalism and breaking news stories that do actually come true, rumors that are ultimately vindicated, and everything along those lines. But that does come, of course, with a certain amount of jealousy from people, especially when some obsessive, crazy bitch.
More sweeping, it's jealousy, it's something else it can't possibly be that they think critically of something that he's doing. And I would have to go back through all of JT's logs to see what his rate of success to failure is. A lot of what I see is the anti-woke is they'll scream and shout about something being woke and gay, and if the game comes out and is successful, then they get quiet. This isn't for everyone, because you have because sometimes they'll keep fighting even when all the evidence is there. If they have one piece of evidence that shows that it's not, that it might not be a full success, then they'll run with that to try and throw the woke message.
Just tries to destroy your life and ultimately only makes you blow up bigger than ever before. Nope, we are just getting into it right now. You are here at exactly the right time. So guys, we're going to go right ahead and we're going to watch this video and try and have a look at what the hell this guy actually thinks he has on Smashjt'S, which is, I mean, I'll be very surprised if he has anything, but there you go. James, I'm still talking about JDA as a Christian, John as a demon, the snake in the garden of Eden, pure.
Okay, I get having a fucking bias. I have a fucking bias. I don't like Smashj't', and from what I've seen of Will, I don't like fucking Will. But I don't.
Evil. Yeah, that is unfortunately what it's starting to look like a true evil bastard who goes out of his way to be as evil as possible. That's what it looks like.
That's not what Smash said at all. Did you pre-watch the video? Have you watched the video at all? That's not what McDizzle said about Smash.
So there you go. Anyway, guys, as we proceed through this, do remember we do have a goal. We are slowly proceeding towards it. If you want to see some doom, you want to see some demons getting annihilated in a few hours' time, do go ahead and help me to justify that to the family. Alrighty, we're going to go ahead and start this thing, especially because my voice is starting to die already from talking solidly for an hour. So let's begin. What the fuck is this? Oh, wow. What is it? Is this how he perceives himself?
Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. It's been a crazy couple days, and I'm going to tell you why. We're going to dive into a crazy social experiment.
That's such an annoying YouTube voice. I'm going to tell you why. All right, buddy, go ahead.
Okay, well, we'll immediately start by throwing jabs at the motherfucker instead of listening to the video. I mean, you already show that you're not going to look at this critically in any single way. You've pulled your broom out. You've said how awful McDizzle is. And you've said how you've over-egged how they say he thinks Smash is evil. So let's get to sweeping.
And the fallout from it. If you are here because you hate me, at least give the video a chance and let me know what you think. And
What do you think I'm fucking doing, buddy?
if you're here because you support my style of journalism, you can join the channel
What, hit pieces and smears?
as a member or drop anything for a super.
Immediately hit meat pieces and smears. Come on, dude, fuck off. Let's get to watching.
Make sure to like the video and subscribe if you're new. I'm going to have some detractors, and sure, there are some things I regret. But at the end of the day, we drove some fascinating
What the fuck is this footage? Ugh, whatever.
conversation around journalism and gaming, and that is a good thing. And I'm not backing down from any conversations. Smash, if you want to chat, I'm happy to.
He literally offered you that before and you backed down.
Might be your best.
I haven't seen any evidence that says McDizzle backed down. In fact, the only thing I have seen is messages where Smashj't' has said, I will not talk to him.
I think. Actually, I can't verify that, but I feel like that is what Smash did say on a stream.
Thanks for super chats yet.
So you don't fucking know. You don't fucking know. You're just making shit up. You're immediately going to the other end of the fucking thing. You're fucked. You're fucked and cucked, and you have no idea, or you have no good faith in this. In your words are fucking hard. In your analysis of this. So right off the bat, you show you're not fucking worth listening to.
First of all, I'm not perfect. I'm still learning things, but I'm always on
I mean, your oration certainly is not perfect.
a quest for truth. And I've done some interesting investigations into the culture warriors of today within Game
Warriors? There's an R in that word, buddy.
Gate. I'm hoping this video is some of the more interesting.
Hey, you little British freak. You pasty little, dirty little British freak. Just listen. Stop trying to make fun of the guy for his voice and things like that. If you have good points, argue against them.
Journalism that you'll see. If you're interested in my other reporting, check out my channel.
You're not supposed to have that truck in this game, right? I mean, It's cringe. You're right. This is fucking cringe already. You're like posting footage of you cheating at a game.
Holy
including a
fucking
groundbreaking
shit! Are
investigation
you?
into
Holy fucking shit! Are you just gonna nitpick his things, his mods? It's cringe to fucking add in a big boobed fucking chick with a mod, but people do it, and I don't give a shit. Do what you want and mod your games.
Ember by Grums.
Oh, groundbreaking investigation. Look, bro, okay? You're not supposed to praise yourself that much over having such a fucking hate boner for Grums. If you guys check out, oh wow, excuse me. If you guys check out this guy's channel, you will realize very quickly that about half of the recent videos over the last year or so are just hit pieces on Grums. Claims to not like Kotaku, but now is getting retweeted by Alyssa Mercante. I wouldn't be in the least bit surprised to discover that.
Hold on. How the fucking any of that have to do with his character? Those two statements. Let's go back.
Check out, oh wow, excuse me. If you guys check out this guy's channel, you will realize very quickly that about half of the recent videos over the last year or so are just hit pieces on Grums. Claims to not like Kotaku, but now is getting retweeted by Alyssa Mercante. I wouldn't be in the least bit.
So, okay, what does his hatred of Kotaku have to do with Alyssa seeing one of his posts and reposting it? That's not a fucking sign that someone is on your side. It's not a sign that you agree with Alyssa Mercante. Anyone can repost anyone's fucking shit, dumbass. And yes, McDizzle is a little autistic, incredibly autistic when it comes to Grums. There's a lot to talk about with Grums that y'all fucking won't even mention. He is a problem. Okay, let's not. That's off subject. That's off subject. Let's get back on subject. Let's focus on the issues instead of things like reposts.
Bit surprised to discover that this guy was put up to all this by Alyssa, because clearly this guy.
And more fucking muddying the water, more poisoning the well. I wouldn't be surprised if this guy was put up by Melissa. Fucking, you're telling me that people can't just critical. You have no evidence. You have no idea to do it. You're just putting it out there to make your fucking fans rabid, I guess. I don't know.
Guy's a grifter. Clearly, this guy's a literal grifter, not an ironic grifter like, you know, the Griff Force.
Oh, fuck. Using the same words that you say aren't true about you on someone else. Something you can't possibly know. Fucking so tired of everyone calling people grifters. Most people fucking don't know what a grifter actually is. I would put it that more people are incompetent than actual grifters.
But an actual grifter who will say anything and pivot any position for money. Basically another JDA, just maybe potentially less pure evil. Anyway.
I say this.
What his McDizzle pivoted from, he's stayed pretty consistent from what I've seen, that he doesn't like Grums, and he has problems with Grums's Ember project, and that he's propped up when he's clearly one of the problems of Gamergate. And he's gone after Smash for his terrible journalism. I don't see a lot of pivoting there, bud.
Because I do have a heavy record of thorough research. We need to talk about accountability in
Get to the fucking point, dude.
gaming journalism.
You clearly do not know how to structure a YouTube video. Make your point first, okay? Then see if anyone's actually interested in hearing you go through it in a more comprehensive fashion. And anyway, I don't know, whatever. Mephisto X is here for 5 poundingtons and says, to anyone in chat who has seen The Wire, you are in my major cool book. If you have not, then please watch The Wire. I'm not going to lie to you. I've only seen a few episodes of The Wire. Don't shoot! I'll try to put it on the list, okay? Thanks. His voice is annoying as fuck. You know, I often think when I listen to myself back that I sound awful. I fucking hate the sound of my own voice, like, pretty much all the time. Like, he's got...
Gaming journalism in 2025. It's moved to a wild...
You are not damaging, you know what I mean? But, like, punched in the face by a toddler.
In 2025.
Annoying, but not damaging, you know what I mean?
It's moved to a wild... We need to talk about accountability in gaming journalism in 2025. It's moved to a wild...
You are full of shit, okay? There's no chance in hell that you actually did any of this to promote journalistic integrity. And there is a very easy way to prove that, because literally what he actually posted when he got his like big gotcha video on Smashjt'S was just trolling. Massive amounts of trolling.
Okay. You're so fucking retarded, dude. He posted that he had been the one who is the leaker. Okay? You might not like that he posted that, but that's what he posted. And sure, he fucking took his wins and whatever, but don't fucking just call it trolling. More muddying the water, More being bad faith. Will just fucking suck off Smashjt all day long to make sure that his overlord looks good.
Oh, excuse me. It got absolutely ridiculous because he wanted to out Smashjt as being a bad journalist, but when actually people were paying attention to the thing he said, he was literally just having to go at Smashjt for making money. You know, that's all it actually ended up being.
What? Where did this come from? He was going at Smashjt for making money. No, he was going at Smashjt for not vetting his sources. This is what we're talking about, right?
Just literally that. It's really, really cringe. Then, of course, he accused Smashjt of doxing him. And then, of course, he actually had to issue a statement.
Smash didn't dox him. True. And he did say doxing at first. But what Smash did do was post his name on Smash's larger website. More than likely, I can't say for sure 100%, so that McDizzle receive unwanted attention from the Smashers.
Saying, oh, actually, you know, Smashjt didn't really dox me. I mean, I'm gonna find this stuff. Hold on a moment. Hold on a moment. Let's get in there. We just gotta go back a little bit. Oh, there he is replying to me. Aha, found you. Right, hold on. And here's the post, right? He says, none of this is reality, and I know because I'm the leaker. It's me, Austin. I did this to demonstrate the bad faith reporting in gaming news. Bad faith, huh? You want to talk about bad faith? Okay. What about this? Where at the end you say, this has been a trend and I have more examples. In fact, his BioWare leaker reached out to me to say they were just messing with him. Well, then they were really bad at messing with him because everything his BioWare leaker said would happen happened.
Yeah, this is apparently wrong. So while there were layoffs, there's been layoffs all over the gaming industry. What the leaker put out and what Smashjt put out was that the headquarters of BioWare. That's not the truth. Smash couldn't even bother to look and see that they were talking about the headquarters when it was one of the other ones. So the information was not correct. You're not even doing, hold on. You're not even doing your own basic amount of research with the guys that are around you. Like it's it's just bad all around.
Like to the letter, everything. It happened. It is McJizzle. That was what I called him, yeah. And I think people actually started to get confused and call him that deliberately. It says, make your bag of money, but don't expect bag. See? What's that? What's it all about? What's it all about? Man, I want to play that video so bad. When we get to goal, I'll hit it. Because this guy won't be any happier about me making money either, frankly. Anyway, back to...
He says, make your bag. What he's saying, make your money. That's fine. Are you just are you like just retarded? You can't read that statement? Sure. Jesus Christ.
Back to the video, because we need to get through this. All right.
Place. And I'm not just talking about the Kotakus of the world dying, because they are. It's the unchecked.
So this dude claims to have a problem with Kotaku, which would align with Gamergate, but then he takes down, or tries to, fucking fails miserably, of course, to take down one of the most prominent Gamergate journalists.
New journalism in gaming.
Why? Okay, that's fucked. You are a wretched little fucking human being. It doesn't matter that Smashjt is one of the major players in the fucking gay-ass Gamergate 2 movement. What matters is he correct? Is he using right journalism? How can anyone trust what Smash says when he's been proven that he can't even vet the sources that he has? Oh, but no, don't kill the messenger because he's saying the fucking words I like.
That has become what Gamergate 1 was meant to fight about.
Smashjt, you fucking filthy lurker. Brilliant. Hold on a moment. Smashjt is here for $20. Literally $20. Just to say one word. All right, first of all,
show them what you do.
That is awful.
Just says money. Love it, love it. Thank you, Smash. You just got us ridiculously much closer to the goal. 74% to goal, guys. We can do it. We can definitely do it now. All right. Let's go right ahead and carry on with the video. Smashjt editing, so can't chat much. Totally fine, buddy. Totally fine. It's usually what I'm doing when you're streaming. So absolutely understand that. Okay, let's crack on.
Which was ethics within game journalism. I think that's something that everyone can get behind. You know, we have the woke mind.
Yeah, everyone can get behind that. What they can't get behind is someone pretending to do that. In fact, just to try and take down someone who is doing it better.
virus.
That's the whole fuck. This guy he doesn't engage with anything. He just sits there with his little fucking broom in his little fucking chair, boringly yapping about fucking things that he really hasn't looked into at all. The original Gamergate was about ethics and journalism. That's the whole fucking point. That dumb bitch was fucking people to get good game reviews, and the overall gaming industry had a problem where journalists would not talk bad about games, would give higher scores and everything else so that they could still have access to the major companies. They call it access journalism. That's what Gamergate was. Y'all's movement is nothing more than gays in games. And okay, I'm not going to say that because I don't truly believe that. There are problems in the gaming industry with DEI and some of that other stuff, but the way it's presented through the Gamergate lens is a fucking disgusting lens that is just wrong. It doesn't even sit anywhere close on the pedestal of what the original Gamergate was for.
And carry on with the video. Smashjt'S editing, so can't chat much. Totally fine, buddy. Totally fine. It's usually what I'm doing when you're streaming. So absolutely understand that. Okay, let's crack on.
Which was ethics within game journalism. I think that's something that everyone can get behind. You know, we have the woke mind.
Yeah, everyone can get behind that. What they can't get behind is someone pretending to do that. In fact, just to try and take down someone who is doing it better.
Virus, but there's also the anti-woke mind virus. And a lot
Oh, here we go. Dude, try not to swallow that fence between your cheeks too much, okay?
of it stems from questionable reporting from YouTubers with anonymous sources. Specifically within the gaming space, there's such a low threshold for large YouTubers that anything can get published as fact. And of course, you can always have
That really isn't very true. We all really take it seriously. What we report must be accurate, or it discredits all of us. Sure, mistakes.
That's completely disproven by what this video is talking about. Like, are you fucking high? All right, Will, I need you, which you're not going to because you've already blocked me, which is fine. I can be a little fucking shitter online. What do you do to prove that the information that you're reading is true?
Can get made. And you know, this is one of the reasons why I really like Smashjt'S as a person, apart from just as a voice in this campaign of ours, is, yeah, okay, he got gotcha'd. What did he do? What would I have recommended he do? In fact, I think, what did I recommend he should do? Well, just issue a video, retracting it and stating what happened. Literally, by the time I finished that fucking sentence, that video was out on the internet. Never be too proud to admit that you were wrong about something. If anything, someone who is just as ready to tell you, sorry, I screwed up, I was wrong, I was tricked, is someone you can trust even more. Because you now know that they're not out there just trying to make themselves look fantastic all the time, like JDA, who is pure evil. Someone who goes, hands in the air, guys, I got this one wrong. That matters to me so much so that I'm going to be totally fucking transparent with you. That's someone that only results in people trusting you even more. Completely the right course of action. Actual integrity. There you go.
have a disclaimer.
But that's not what he did. He came out with a little, hey guys, I got gotcha'd. And then he, sorry, he spent the rest of the video and the rest of the next like 2 or 3 videos crying about how McDizzle was a fucking troll. When people asked him, what is he going to do better this time? How is he going to change his vetting process? He stayed as vague as possible, and it even has come out and said that there was nothing he could have done. It would have been impossible for him to properly vet these people. This is just absolutely no critical thinking or critical journalism, we'll say, in this fucking Will of the Fans guy.
Disclaimer that says, hey, this is a rumor. If you're going to believe this person,
He did say that. He literally says that every time. Like, okay, guys, this is a rumor, so you have to take it with a pinch of salt or a grain of salt, whatever the Americans say.
I hate this fucking thing. Like, I said, take it with a grain of salt because it's a rumor. That's such a fucking shitty shield for you to be able to put out whatever information you want. I could say that, all right, where was that? We're going to go back to an old fucking drama that happened with Smashjt'S. There was a whole fucking thing about Smashjt'S being a cuck and a cuck website. Obviously proven false. I sent fucking Smashjt'S, the guy who was throwing it around the internet, and the troll that and he knew about the troll that was on there. But if I said Smashjt is a cuck and on a cuck website, but it's just a rumor, guys, take it with a pinch of salt. How is that any different than what fucking Smash does? It's not. It's a shit shield.
You know, he always says that. What do you want him to do? Stand there with a sign for like 20 seconds that just says rumor, rumor, do not believe, do not believe.
No, I want him to do proper journalism if he's going to act as a journalist. I want him to vet his sources properly and dig into the information so that he knows it's right, not just that it sounds right.
What would be the point? It would be a pointless exercise. The idea is big if true.
Person, sure. But at the end of the day, if you're a large YouTuber and you have a website that you provide gaming news to people, you're going to get questioned if the information seems illegitimate.
Yeah, it happens all the time. Literally all the time. And he has a very, very high ratio of being right. Damn near 100% until you came along with your fucking trickery.
I really doubt that it's 100%. Half of the stuff that is brought out about woke and things like that is very, very subjective information or other stuff. Has he...
So why exactly? Let's see here, guys. We have two people. One of them really does care about what he does. And you can tell that because, as I just mentioned, if he gets anything wrong, he will totally...
I don't give a fuck if he cares about it or not. Is he fucking right with his information? Is he doing the proper journalistic practices? He could be fucking absolutely passionate about the job he does, but if he's a fucking retard and he's putting out information on the fly just for whatever reason, then he shouldn't be doing it, or he should be transparent about how he's going to fucking fix it.
totally come out and tell you, sorry, I got that wrong. The other guy sits and just judges other people constantly all the time while issuing actual trickery, deceitful tactics, just purely for gotchas of bigger channels. Which one can you trust?
That's the thing. This one's a gotcha. What Smashjt isn't a gotcha. What McDizzle does is a gotcha. It's so fucking plain, the sweeping that's going on here. You can't even fucking talk about what Smash has done outside of well, he apologized for it.
It's madness. You've discredited yourself by even beginning this story.
But do gamers want that information thrown out into the collective zeitgeist without a high level of
I throw you out into the zeitgeist.
confidence that it's correct? We're going to talk about at least how some of that information.
If you have a pattern of research that has so far never let you down, and then it lets you down once, sure, adapt, adopt, and improve, right? But until that day comes, why would you feel the need to have extra levels of scrutiny?
What? Are you fucking kidding me? If you're going to be in a journalist capacity, you should be looking up the ways, you should be improving constantly your methods of doing it so that you're always right. What Smashjt was doing, it was 100% true that he was going to get called out for this. Period. And I hate to tell you, but when someone calls you out for something like this, you can lose all of your fucking credit. Absolutely lose all of your credit. There's also the fear of getting defamation cases. I mean, he's in the middle of one right now. Obviously, one of the dumbest fucking defamation cases ever. I hope it gets thrown out. I don't follow it because I don't really care. But if someone came in, if he says the wrong thing and leads it as fact, it can become a huge fucking case for him and a lot of money fucking spent. On top of it, just the moral idea of, hey, I'm going to make sure that I know what I'm saying is right. Not that the message is what I want to hear, but that what I'm saying is right. You should always be questioning your own beliefs.
If it's worked so far, it's entirely fine. You can criticize it if you want, if you really want to. Hindsight's 20/20 and all that. But whatever practices Smashjt was engaging with to verify the stories he talks about was working fine.
No, it wasn't working at all. It was nothing. There was nothing he was doing to vet these sources. We have no idea if any of the other information said was true or not. It might line up with something that happened, but that doesn't make it it doesn't make his vetting process, it doesn't mean his vetting process is fucking worth working, you redheaded troglodyte.
He'd never really been wrong. I mean, not about anything that mattered anyway.
Gets out there, often within the scope of yellow journalism.
Wait, hold on. It's not about anything that mattered. So what does that mean? He's been wrong in the past. It just hasn't been a big blow up for him. What does that mean?
Which is a fantastic way to drive views and to give money.
Is that a term in general, yellow journalism, or is that just something that he's made up? Because I've never heard that before. Yellow journalism, style of journalism that uses sensationalism and exaggeration to sell newspapers. Dude, you're a fucking YouTuber. Sure, I mean, what does this say? The yellow journalism of Smashjt'S exposed. You're literally engaging in the practice in that title. You fucking hypocrite.
Now,
Okay, I'll give him this one point on it. The yellow journalism thing is pretty much rampant on YouTube. Like everything is sensational. That's not a YouTube problem. That's not, a Smashjt problem, a YouTuber problem. It's a human problem. People are more likely to click on clickbait titles. But that's not really the bigger point of this, right?
yellow journalism within gaming hasn't specifically been explored, but we're going to do a bit of that. Of course, a big part of yellow journalism is taking
I'll speed this up a bit so we can get through it a little faster. A little bit faster.
sides on political issues, as well as reporting stories using anonymous sources. And we've seen a lot of that, and that's what we're going to talk about today.
So yellow journalism, he's actually got the definition on screen. I would have looked at it myself, but oh well. So yellow journalism is sensationalism, aka clickbait. It's really, really bizarre that you are criticizing something you literally have to engage in order to get anyone to watch this video. What are you doing? You have absolutely no fucking sense of irony, no self-awareness. Really? Are you that fucking thick? Okay.
I mean, you're one to talk, man. Listen, bud, you're one to talk. We've got. You can't even step back and say, hey, I want to see what's going on. Smashjt has gotten in some trouble, and I want to see if it's something he did or something else. You've immediately jumped to the same defense that Smash ran, which is McDizzle's a troll.
All right.
This type of content is like the tabloids of video games. Now, do I think
Okay, so what are you then? If Smashjt is the tabloids of video games, what are you?
The guy exposing the tabloids.
Like the shitty little glossy magazines that come inside the tabloid newspapers? Is that it? Are you Hello Magazine? Or are you Take a Break Magazine for people in the UK would understand?
yellow video game journalism should exist? Sure, but gamers like accuracy and call-out patterns, and that's why we're here today. This is a fantastic playbook on how to drive views on YouTube, but it does come at the expense of truth and facts. But in any case,
Well, you're certainly providing us with an example of that.
we should have an informed conversation about it.
What has he said that's wrong? You've yet to actually say what's wrong about his statement. So far, you've agreed that yellow journalism is a problem, but it's not a problem that's going to be solved, sure. But have you actually engaged with it? Which it's hard to engage with McDizzle's videos. I'll admit that. I might watch one of his other ones later today, Grums. But engage. Stop just muddying the water.
I mean, I get it. Who wouldn't want a pile of views on their YouTube channel? And don't get me wrong.
You certainly do get that. You certainly do get that. Let's have a look, shall we? Okay, for all the drama you have caused, for all the bullshit that you have accomplished, you have managed to gain less than 200 subs. For the love of fucking God.
So, this is something we'll see in this video regularly, and I don't understand this. Will has a fucking obsession with checking numbers and Social Blade and how much money people are making. So you're telling me it can't be about the message, it has to be about money? I get it. We all want to check on those numbers and do things like that. There's nothing wrong with checking those numbers, but constantly bringing it up on stream. He even came to me after I watched this video, and he's like, "You're a 10 subscriber channel. Why don't you start doing this like positive content?" Let me fucking pull this shit up here. I'm gonna pull up similar images of what he's saying. God damn, I got a lot of messages today. Let's go to boop. What do we got? I'll go through those later. Can I even see him anymore? I'm not gonna. I don't need to search all the way through it. Either way, it was something like making more positive content. Why do you have to try and bring people down? And I told him, I was like, it's weird to bring up how many subscribers I have. Like that matters on how right I am, right? Or wrong. And if I'm wrong, fucking tell me about it. Show me where I'm wrong so I can correct myself, or I can counter your argument if I think I'm still in the right, or if I can prove that I'm still in the right. It's weird. It's a fucking weird thing to do, constantly bringing up Social Blade like that matters.
For the love of God. Hope it was worth it, buddy.
It does take skill and talent to do what Smash does and others do. And one thing I will call out is some of these other people are like John Della Rose, who's trying to see this as an own on Smash.
Fucking, where are you? Like, you don't like John Della Rose either? He's
Yeah, why would he like John Della Rose?
trying really hard to position himself as the absolute center, but what he's actually coming across as is an allegiance-less grifter.
Oh, so you have to have allegiance to one side or the other. You can't fucking call out both sides for the problems that they have. You have to put your t-shirt on and play team sports. Got it.
And it could have easily been him.
Fucking-
Personal message to John, you're a freak, but maybe we'll explore that in another video. But we'll do a breakdown of how we arrived here.
First base thing he said in the whole video.
An example from some time ago with Smashjt was with Concord. The most epic failure of all time. Smash did some reporting on his perceived contributions of an employee and their alleged impact to the destruction of Concord. The information was so off that a Concord employee reached out to me, one that I did verify. I did a couple things to reach a high level of confidence with that source. For example, I reviewed their profile next. They weren't hiding anything. Or for another that corroborated things, they could send some proof. I guess the point
An awful lot of extremely coincidental things had to happen there for that to work.
being, if someone trusts you enough as a conduit of the information that they want to provide, they should be able to trust you enough to give you at least
I mean, why would you? Never mind.
enough to know that they are sincere. And taking it at face value is a massive risk for misinformation. However, based on accounts from 4 other people that I was actually able to verify, a number of things that he said were factually wrong. You can check that video out if you want. And you know what? He might have talked to somebody there. And
I will. Another time.
maybe that was their experience. However, a number of statements were very broad and reaching and, well, not correct based on my research. Either way, that drew me
Wasn't this like a little tiny micro issue? There was like one detail that wasn't accurate or something.
further into heavy skepticism of anything Smashjt was reporting. All right, fast
Now, here's the thing. Like, yeah, one tiny detail. What he's saying is he's making broad statements. It's easy to get something right if you made the broad statement that this is going to happen. It's the fine details that show that you had more accurate information. I mean, that's not always the case. Sometimes, like, you can't always get down to the nitty gritty of who did what and where. You hear a rumor about layoffs in a company, you try and find confirmation to that rumor, and go from there. But that doesn't, that's making just broad sweeping strokes about something, about everything, is not the way to go. It doesn't prove that you're right all the time.
forward to
Can't remember. This is the other problem with being a YouTuber. You actually cover so much stuff, you end up forgetting little bits of it. Unless you keep yourself a fucking notebook, like Ryan Roger Athay, which actually I can completely understand because I forget more stories a week than I remember. 100%.
a couple days ago. I got a message indicating that Smash will print anything to go to LinkedIn, find a random name for a developer at any studio, make a fake.
Okay. I feel like we have a smoking gun here. Wow. Yeah, I need that
What?
Law and Order sound effect. Want to blow Smashjt up? Go on LinkedIn and find a random name for a developer at any studio, make a fake email on anything but Gmail or Outlook, etc., and send him insider stuff he wants to hear. He'll post it within the hour. I did a few times now. I'm one of his BioWare insiders. One of. Okay. So how come his reporting on BioWare was all really, really accurate? And also,
It wasn't, though. It was a broad. Well, he focused in on the headquarters, went with that information, and he was wrong. The thing is if he would have done what he normally did and did sweeping accusations, BioWare is just saying something like, BioWare never heard about it. I'm losing my train of thought in sentences. I'm trying to multitask here. If he had just broad swope and said BioWare is doing layoffs, that would have been one thing, but he didn't, right? It was about specifically the headquarters.
so who is this fucking person? Oh yeah, Smash is IP banned from LinkedIn. That's right. Yeah, we need to fix that. So hold on a minute. So this is someone literally advising you, McDizzle, to commit identity fraud. And you actually think that this
It's not identity fraud, you fucking troglodyte. You have no idea what it is.
is a good thing to post in your video. Right. I mean, who the hell? So okay, I've speculated kind of randomly and with no actual evidence to back it up. So just a disclaimer there, okay, McDizzle, that considering the amount of retweets and things like that have come out of this from the people he claims to hate, you know, like ex-Kotaku journalists.
What is this fucking bullshit? What do the retweets fucking matter? Yeah, people who don't like Smash are gonna retweet something that fucking anyone pulls out. It doesn't matter who it is. That doesn't fucking put you on their side, you fucking disingenuous freak.
Etc. Certain ones who are heavily involved in Smashjt'S life, whether invited or not. Given that weird connection that no one can account for, I do wonder who sent this message. Where did this come from? Anonymous, perhaps. Me thinks I detect an ulterior motive. Interesting.
I mean, he may not have known it this time, but it was already proven. Like, you all are so fucking brain cucked that what you're trying to point it towards is this is Alyssa saying this. Couldn't be that some fucking other actual troll got online and just started feeding information, right? And all of this could have been avoided by Smash doing even the minimum amount of vetting.
This guy is now regular, just absolutely admitting that all of this is him being a pawn in someone else's game.
Email on Nathan and send him insider stuff he wants to hear. He'll post it within the hour. I did it a few times now. I'm one of his BioWare insiders.
Then you were really bad at it because most of the things that he says actually do come true.
Now, I have no interest in blowing Smashjt up. I'm sure he's created a variety of enemies, and this sounds like one of them. I did ask him for additional proof. He lied
The only people who have become enemies of Smashjt are people who seriously don't like the fact that he gets things right most of the time.
himself out.
That's not fucking true, you fucking dirty little ass. This is the fucking thing I'm talking about. Most of these fucking people, these orbiters around Smash, I won't say most of them. So far, the first orbiter, at least, that I find around Smash is just a fucking sweeper. He's down there suckling the little fucking balls of Smash to make sure that it's all clean and good, but he's not engaging with any of this fucking situation. He's just muddying muddying the water as much as he fucking can. You're not even engaging whatsoever.
The account. It didn't have screenshots. However, he did provide me the insider name and email address. At Smash, if you want to know that name and email address, I'd be happy to.
He made up the BioWare thing. He heard Smash over the weekend say he had multiple BioWare leads. He's lying there. Well, I mean, that is in the tweet, of course. The part, and Smashjt was absolutely right for pointing this out. The fact that after all the rest of this stuff, where he appears to be coming from a position of moral superiority or ethics in journalism, for him to then turn around and go, his BioWare leaker reached out to me to say they were just messing with him. Now you're saying that was the impetus to start this. Something doesn't line up.
What do you mean something doesn't fucking line up? He got a message from somebody who said that they were leaking information to Smashjt. It sounds like he did his due diligence to try and see that the guy was actually doing that, and then he went and tested the theory himself. You can argue, like, you haven't even gotten to arguing about the point of the way McDizzle did it. Like, we haven't even gotten to McDizzle broke the law outside of one off comment about identity theft. You're just constantly fucking muddying the water. This water isn't even water anymore. It's just a fucking layer of mud.
Something does not line up. It's almost, it could, I mean, I don't know. This guy seems pretty unscrupulous to me. Perhaps yeah, look at that. See, the person says this name. That's the BioWare insider I made. I wish I had the password. So you lost the password to your hoax BioWare account.
Who cares?
Calling bullshit. I am calling absolute fucking bullshit.
What is the leaker losing his password or not wanting to give out his password have anything to do with this fucking situation?
Something doesn't add up here. Something is not adding up here. Why would you lose the password? Why would you ever allow yourself to lose the password to your fucking fake account? This whole situation reeks of Alyssa Mercante Robidos, doesn't it? Doesn't it just? There's a...
And there it is. It's always coming back to Alyssa Mercante. They can't fucking keep her name out of their mouth. It's just crazy. Listen, Melissa is a fucking freak and a dumbass bitch and a whore and all those other things that y'all want to call her. But not everything has to deal with her. You'll do anything to try and make the other side look bad. Very fucking lefty behavior.
Certain flavor of half-baked Machiavellian conspiracy that generally smells the same as the kind of Machiavellian conspiracy that's full of holes and mistakes that comes from Alyssa Mercante. I have no way to verify that, of course.
What holes and mistakes? You've yet to point out holes and fucking mistakes.
But gut instinct is very often correct. I wish I had the password. And why don't you? Probably because you're
What does any of this fucking matter? Who gives a fuck about the leaker's password?
actually making up the story about being a BioWare insider. You do not have access to the account because you are not the person. The BioWare leakers, of whom there are many, or at least a couple, have so far not really provided.
How do you know that? How do we know that any of his BioWare leakers are actual fucking leakers? Like, how do we know any of them work for the company? It's been shown that Smashjt doesn't vet his sources.
Smashjt with anything wrong. He broke the story with Grums that Cringe the Fake Minge Bush was out. And then it turned out that he is in fact out. Everything else related to it has come true. There's been no real mistake there. So
I don't care about the times that he was right or might have been right. I care about what we're talking about right fucking now.
we have an alleged scam artist leaker that's leaking fake information that just happens to have a 1-to-1 accuracy rating with what really happened.
It didn't have a 1-to-1 accuracy rating, you fucking freak.
And then someone claiming to be that insider claims to have just been messing with Smashjt, but can't prove it because they've lost the password. Bullshit upon bullshit upon bullshit. Staggering.
Provided directly to you. I'm not going to post their name out there for everyone, though.
But that's a really contrived situation right there. Imagine losing the password to your fake BioWare leaker account that you actually have got to apparently entirely.
Are we going to fucking sit on this point all day? Like, you're trying to nitpick every situation, but this literally has nothing to do with it. You don't know what other sources McDizzle used to prove this. He might have gone in blind. He might have done it the fucking bad way. Let's see that.
To humiliate someone you don't like. Seems like something you would care about keeping the password for.
But allegedly, one of your BioWare insiders are fake.
It is, you're right. It's the dog ate my homework. Absolutely.
The crazy thing is, this fake leak ended up happening. Part of it did anyways. Specific article about a BioWare.
Wait. That was there too. Let's go back a bit. I won't go back too far, but we can go back a few frames. I was annoyed that some of it came true because I was just fucking with him, but then the layoffs happened. Again, retroactively trying to tie up ends that don't belong together.
What are you fucking talking about? He said he made some shit up. This guy, I don't think this guy has very good comprehension skills.
Sad. Look, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a fucking duck, right? And this has way too much whiffery of bullshit for me to believe it. This sounds like someone retroactively.
You're smelling your own fucking farts, dude. Or more correctly, you're smelling Smashjt's farts and saying McDizzle stinks.
Trying to tie up their own story after witnessing that everything blew up in the face of McDizzle Gaming. For all I know, McDizzle Gaming sent this message to himself from an alt account.
Specific article about a BioWare insider leaking all Veilguard sales numbers, internal culture war, and layoffs incoming. Now, we do know layoffs did happen, but this specific piece right here was kind of funny. Let's find it. This part about
Don't say kind of funny. Make me think of Greg Miller.
a private chat group at BioWare with more than 10 people in it that follow his content specifically. That's pretty made up. Allegedly. And again, I would be happy to be proven wrong. That specific article was written just hours after this was sent by this gentleman. I have a level.
It's fucking hilarious that the fucking footage he's got here is clearly like Red Dead Redemption or something, I think. Riding around with cowboys and shit, and you're in a fucking modern truck. You are effectively using footage where you have manipulated the system to your advantage. Like, that's a metaphor for this entire fucking video. Man, you guys are really having a problem with this guy's voice, huh? I feel like it's only about as annoying as mine.
Skepticism with this, of course, because the BioWare layoffs did happen. Although I disagree with this guy's approach. I followed up to flag this just shortly after his video was posted. This dude just left it. I think that's one, incredibly irresponsible, and two, I'm doing an actual report. I'm doing an actual story.
I'm doing an actual report. I don't think it's his voice that bothers me. It's his pattern of speech, his elocution, and things like that. His grammar just irritate you. You like my voice? Oh, well, thank you.
If true, of course, that helped no one and actually made it look like a fake leak was true. And honestly, that doesn't really help anyone outside of the additional validation that, hey, Smash does just run with things. My intention.
But he doesn't just run with things. Very often, Will's voice is better than this soy boy. Thank you. Okay, guys. Very often I'm part of the conversations that happen between people relating to topics that people are thinking of covering. Because everyone wants to check, you know, like, you think this makes sense? Does this add up? Blah, 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 blah.
What do you mean you think this makes... Here's the problem. The problem is y'all, it sounds like y'all are sitting back in the back. Does this make sense? Could this work? But are you doing actual journalism to prove it right? Are you trying to actually do it? Now, some of those things you can have enough speculation to use the take this with a grain of salt argument. But it doesn't sound like y'all do any deeper journalism than talking to each other. Where do you look for this information? Do you have multiple sources that you cross-reference? You know, what are you doing to research the subject, not just talking to each other and trying to make sure that the story makes sense?
So, yeah, I know for a fact that and certainly a required amount of due diligence is done with multiple perspectives weighing in on subjects before anyone runs with them. Very often before anyone runs with them. That's what happens when you trust each other. You know, you're not going to try to scoop each other, that kind of thing. Helpful. Anyway, Will says things that are worth listening to. This McDizzle person just runs his mouth. You know what? I appreciate that more than anything.
These are pretty noble, and they didn't just come from out of the blue. However, I'm fascinated to know if the names we have match up Smash. He also recommended I try for myself, so I did. The only thing being a name and a role of someone that worked at Ubisoft, along with other nebulous information.
Which you then redacted to try and save your own worthless face because you had to commit a crime in order to do this. Fucking genius. Room temperature IQ.
Again, speaking of room temperature IQ, you can't say for sure that he broke any fucking laws. He could have. There is one law that I've seen in fucking Canada where he lives that he could have fell foul of. He wouldn't have fell foul. I haven't seen anything or been brought anything that says this would be illegal in the United States.
You retard.
But I did not link to any sort of LinkedIn or socials or anything like that. I had some ethical and moral questions around this. I did this
And decided to omit all of them and pay them no mind whatsoever and then just go with the unethical behavior.
after careful consideration of previous instances where there's been significant doubts and insider information. And Smash, sorry,
Guess the ends justify the means, huh? You know who else thinks like that? John Delarose.
it was you. It could have easily
And Smashjt'S. And you, apparently. You don't care if people are right as long as they're wearing your t-shirt.
been Endymion. So I created an email address and I drafted up an email saying that I was a random employee at Ubisoft and that the game was going to be delayed due to a massive amount of bugs and the desecration
Yes, right. But the thing is, the story you came up with is entirely believable. It might still happen.
of the shrines. I did not link to any LinkedIn profile or anything like that. Maybe this mysterious employee doesn't have
Akira says, this guy sounds like a frat boy with an Atlantic Canada accident. Woof. Woof. James Up chimes in for 5. Says, no one has to prove a thing to this absolute nobody. The guy has 6,000 subs and wants you to believe BioWare reached out to him. Get the fuck out. That's the biggest part that doesn't make sense, right? Ain't nobody reaching out to a 6,000 sub channel. I was a 6,000 sub channel. Nobody reached out to me.
What the fuck are you talking about? What does this have to do with anything? Where did fucking McDizzle say that the 6,000 sub channel reached out to him? What the fuck? Did I miss something? Can we go back?
and that the game was going to be delayed due to a massive amount of bugs and the desecration
Yes, right. But the thing is, the story you came up with is entirely believable. It might still happen.
of the
Yeah,
shrines.
that's the point of testing it. It needs to be a believable fucking story.
I did not link to any LinkedIn profile or anything like that. Maybe this mysterious employee doesn't have
Akira says, this guy sounds like a frat boy with an Atlantic Canada accident. Woof. Woof. James Up chimes in for 5. Says, no one has to prove a thing to this absolute nobody. The guy has 6,000 subs and wants you to believe BioWare reached out to him. Get the fuck out. That's the biggest part that doesn't make sense, right? Ain't nobody reaching out to a 6,000 sub channel. I was a 6,000 sub channel. Nobody reached out to me. No.
Who is he talking about reaching out to? I still don't understand who's reaching out to McDizzle. A leaker of Smashjt'S reached out to McDizzle. What are we even fucking talking about, dude?
Nobody whatsoever. It was only through meeting other YouTubers and getting connections that way that I was even able to stream with people who I respect. You know, everything is grassroots when you're at that size. No one is contacting this clown from BioWare. I mean, although to be fair, the person who is contacting him is claiming to be a fucking fraud themselves. So there's that. But it just seems like you're trying desperately to punch up because you have been just overlooked constantly by someone else.
This absolute cucked behavior of who's the bigger fucking creator is right is just brain dead. Absolutely fucking brain dead.
Who has done a better job. Someone who's been in the game longer, learned how it works and how to maximize the impact of their work. And you have not learned that. Furthermore, you do sound like
Whoa. The impact of the work, not the correctness of the fucking work. This motherfucker. You don't care if it's right. You only care that it says the message you want it to say. So you don't give a shit about being correct and making games better. You only care that your movement is the better one. And I'm starting to see why some people call some of you guys grifters, because all that seems to matter to you is subs and clicks.
A frat boy. So yeah, there's that. Thank you, James. Up. Appreciate you very much, buddy.
Because
Really do. Oof. Oof. Fucking hell. Less than $8 to go. All right. Do we want to see what McDizzle Gaming looks like? Chat is asking me to find out. I don't know that I want to, because this guy is extremely, extremely defensive over that. I do know that well, I don't actually know anything. I just know his name. And I kind of don't want to participate in that because, well, it just seems like asking for trouble. But I think I saw.
that's actually one of the first good points you've said. Like, the problem with what Smash did isn't that he doxed him. You know, I'd call it maybe a light doxing. But what he did was spread the name around on the internet on his large platform. That's the problem with it. And you can at least see that there's something, I don't know, wrong with that you're not willing to participate in it. So there's a small, very small piece of critical information.
Saw a picture of him. Unfortunately, it's kind of hard to find a picture of him without going into his real name and stuff like that. I guess I can have a quick look. Let's see. Oh, that's where they're trying to. I know that his name is Omar, yeah, but I don't know what he looks like. I guess I'll have another look. What? Oh God. You know what? You can do your own research and decide which one of these hideous faces is his. I have no idea.
Have a LinkedIn and just shares a name with that Ubisoft employee. What I expected to have happen versus what happened was very different. I expected Smashjt to ask for proof, and I would not have provided it to him. I would have reported what I had found. An example of proof like this, like I get from former Firewalk employees. And that's
I don't believe that for a fucking second. This guy was dedicated to taking down Smashjt. That's the only reason you even started him. It even says in that very fucking message that you received, and just proving how retarded you are, the message you received
all right. Fast forward to a
says-
couple days ago, I got a message indicating that
says, "Want to blow Smashjt up? Go and blah 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 blah." So you are tacitly
That is a comment from the leaker, not a statement by McDizzle.
acknowledging your motivation for this was in fact just to blow Smashjt up.
No, it isn't. Just because he got a message from somebody saying that doesn't mean that it's the same thing. Was he trying to show Smash for what he really is? Sure, yeah, you could call it blowing up then, but he wasn't wrong, and it doesn't make it a fucking troll.
what I had found. An example of proof like this, like I get from former Firewalk employees. And that's often in corroboration with other facts.
It looks
That
like
might be, okay, is this coming from an account on X that's been around for 10 years and it obviously says what this person does? However, I was very surprised that the threshold of this was simply send an email, no questions asked. And then shortly after this, Smash had an article out as well as a video. And I post this on X.
Look, end of the day, maybe Smashjt jumped the gun on this one. Maybe he did. Maybe he put it through the same exact, validity checking system that he has, and it checked out. The thing is, it was an exceptionally believable story. It is wholly believable, and there are rumors coming out of Ubisoft proper that the game might get.
It doesn't matter if it's fucking believable. It matters if it's right. This is from an inside source, supposedly.
Delayed again. The game is not ready. The game is under huge scrutiny. They are having to make announcements every day, like, you don't actually have to play as Yasuke at any point in the game anymore. So they are still scrambling. It is so obvious that they are desperate to try and salvage this any way they can. So if you release a story saying it's going to get delayed for a couple of months, again, it's entirely believable. Even I was covering it when I watched that video last week on this very show. My first reaction was, yeah, that makes fucking sense. Makes sense. Totally makes sense. So yeah, you did a really good job of, convincing. You did a really good job of convincing him that it was true. And if he had asked for more information, I guarantee this fucking clown would have gone above and beyond to try and find anything he could to verify himself. He would have thought of something. Of course, there's also the rush to get the story out before anyone else gets it.
So there's this other thing that I've heard. Smash kind of said this too, is that he would have done anything because he used an employee's name. He would steal his social security number to prove to Smash. This is fucking cope. Smash Googled the name and said that was enough. He did nothing further to check it.
And yeah, I guess if there's any mistake that Smashjt made, it would have been that. A little less haste probably would have been better. However,
the only mistake that Smash made was that he rushed it a little bit. That's your takeaway. This is this guy's takeaway for what Smash did.
Again, you did a really good job of, convincing. He did a really good job of convincing him that it was true. And if he had asked for more information,
He didn't do a really good job. He just said this is happening, and Smash ran with it. I missed that part.
I guarantee this fucking clown would have gone above and beyond to try and find anything he could to verify himself. He would have thought something. Of course, there's also the rush to get the story out before anyone else gets it. And yeah, I guess if there's any mistake that Smashjt made, it would have been that. A little less haste probably would have been better. However, that is, again, a drop in the bucket compared to identity fraud.
And this is the thing that they harp on. No one wants to talk about Smashjt's side. It's constantly the narrative of identity fraud when not a single one of these motherfuckers understands how the law actually works, and if McDizzle would ever be found guilty of that.
Which is not identity theft, apparently. There's a legal distinction. I'm not sure about that. Interestingly, the name of McDizzle Gaming now shows up on the Alyssa Mercante Kiwi Farms page. So I wouldn't know what exactly where it is, but I don't have time to start trawling Kiwi Farms in a hold on on a live stream. Much as I'd like to, but anyway, let's carry on with the video.
None of this is reality, and I know this because I am the leaker. See attached. And the attached is the email I sent to Smashjt. Of course.
Someone on Kiwi Farms is referring to McDizzle Gaming as Dave Rivera's Antifa butt buddy.
The personal information of the name I use redacted. And this has garnered a whole lot of conversation. Smash eventually responded with another video, and Smash took a little bit of extra effort in his video to make sure that he had my full name and city I lived in within the video. I think
Dude, you put that out in public. You did. With your YouTube logo, your real name, and the location. So, there we go. Dramatic Law 29 popped into us when Doom is happening. Well, that is a question I can answer in around about $8 time. And you guys will probably have a say in when it happens. So, that's the answer at present.
some old accounts tied in with my personal name. Took a little bit of effort, but not much. But he made sure to post it. But hey, my stuff should have been locked down better. Lesson learned. But do what you got to do, Jeffrey. I know you said
Correct. Well done. You have learned a lesson there. Someone needs to create a soy boy calendar for 2025. Could you imagine the ew? Actually, no. Says Mephisto X. Wow. I don't even no. No, please God, no. No. Nobody wants that shit. Absolutely nobody wants that.
No, God, please, no, 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 no.
Thank you, Mephisto X. We are so very, very, very close to the goal now. So very close. Anyway, let's carry on.
when you're mad at someone, you lash out, and you definitely do. You shared a random Ubisoft employee's LinkedIn and portfolio information or something? That's working for a company that's
Look, at the end of the day, right? This guy left his real name alongside his YouTube logo.
Okay, yeah, sure, he did. That's why it's not a dox. That doesn't change the fact that Smash went on his live stream and pushed the guy's name to all these other people. People would have probably found it to begin with, and McDizzle probably should have done a better job. It's a lesson to anyone who's getting into this space. If you don't want your name out there, you have to do the right things to hide it. Hopefully, I am doing that. Time will tell, I suppose, if I get any kind of coverage on the platforms. But that doesn't make what Smash did right. It's not doxing, sure, but it doesn't make it right.
You don't do that. If you especially if you're going to get involved in controversial subjects like culture war shit, you lock down your real name. You do everything you possibly can to avoid anybody finding out that you are the same exact fucking person. You don't want that shit because it's the same reason Batman doesn't go around calling himself Bruce Wayne, for fuck's sake. Simple. And no, I'm not comparing YouTubers to superheroes, but the double life element of it is kind of a necessary thing to do, especially if you're going to get involved in a space where you're going to make a lot of enemies. Simple. Try to keep as much of your personal info to yourself as you possibly can. BV is here for $9.99, freaking guaranteeing the Doom stream will happen. As you can tell, he says, this guy is obsessed with people like Smash and Endymion because he's pissed he can't get his channel to their level, so he's trying to take them down. Here's to hit the goal. And you...
Here's the funny thing about this is all the same talking points that the woke use when they're being attacked by somebody. It's these guys are so obsessed with us. These guys are, grifters. These guys are trolls. All of these same talking points are the exact same ones that he's using right now.
You have succeeded spectacularly, sir. Thank you very much for that. You're right. Absolutely, you're right. There is a mentality among smaller YouTubers, sadly, one where you think, I fucking hate these people. Why isn't it me? Why isn't it me getting all that money? And it just, if you have that as your impetus for working in the first place, you're gonna have a bad time. Yeah, if you have a decent audience and you've built up some good faith, you can grift a little. Hello, my Doomometer, for example. But, you got to provide something valuable in exchange. Entertainment, insight, some semblance of community or friendship in whatever capacity you're able to over the internet. All these things go a long, long way. But then there are other channels that come at this from the wrong perspective. When I began this channel, my absolutely my crystallizing moment. The reason why I think that if I'd started the channel earlier, I might not have got anywhere near where I did as quickly as I did, is because I knew straight up that in the first year or two of you having a YouTube channel, you are not the draw. The news you talk about, the subjects you cover is the draw. Over time, perhaps some of the audience that once came only to hear you talk about a subject will come to hear you talk about whatever because they rely.
Hold on. I got to go back to that.
Particularly, sir. Thank you very much for that. You're right. Absolutely, you're right. There is a mentality among smaller YouTubers, sadly, one where you think, I fucking hate these people. Why isn't it me? Why isn't it me getting all that money? And it's
so disingenuous, so fucking disingenuous. Why isn't it me? Why isn't it me? It's not the fucking thing. Sometimes people just don't like someone for the way that they're putting out the content, or the fact that they overly sweep, not sweep. I'm losing my words today. Or the way they, what was I talking about? Let's go back. My brain isn't working right, so let's fucking.
Very much for that. You're right. Absolutely, you're right. There is a mentality among smaller YouTubers, sadly, one where you think, I fucking hate these people. Why isn't it me? Why isn't it me?
Okay, so I think a better way to say this is that you put all those people in a box because you say that they're gonna that they do this, right? Oh, the only reason that they could possibly be criticizing Smash is because they're jealous of him. The only possible way they could be criticizing, anyone is because they're jealous of him. It couldn't possibly be anything else. It's disingenuous.
Getting all that money, and it just, if you have that as your impetus for working in the first place, you're gonna have a bad time. Yeah, if you have a decent audience and you've built up some good faith, you can grift a little. Hello, my doomometer, for example. But you got to provide something valuable in exchange: entertainment, insight, some semblance of community or friendship in whatever capacity you're able to over the internet. All these things go a long, long way. But then there are other channels that come at this from the wrong perspective. When I began this channel,
the wrong perspective. This should be good.
My crystallizing moment. The reason why I think that if I'd started the channel earlier, I might not have got anywhere near where I did as quickly as I did, is because I knew straight up that in the first year or two of you having a YouTube channel, you are not the draw. The news you talk about, the subjects you cover is the draw.
Okay, if that's the case, then you need to make sure, even more so than other channels, that the information that you're putting out is all T's crossed and all I's dotted. One day I'll speak right. Probably not, though, as I slip into senility. But this is a terrible talking point for your side, especially when we're talking about Smashjt'S not doing the proper research.
Time, perhaps some of the audience that once came only to hear you talk about a subject will come to hear you talk about whatever, because they've reliably come to the conclusion that your interests align and they like you. At which point, yeah, a part of your audience is there for you, not necessarily the news. This is a gradual thing. You have to understand, though, when you start a YouTube channel, you are nothing. You are dirt. You are the worms in the dirt. And everything you get must be earned. But then there's these people who are obsessed with money first, above all else, and they want that fucking money. Their mission goal is, I want to play video games and get paid for it. Well, so does everybody else, buddy. What makes you deserve that more than anyone else? Well, nothing, but I hate these channels that actually can do that. And if I can take them down and get them to lose.
It's just constant muddying the water. He can't engage with any of the actual arguments on what Smash did. It's always McDizzle did this, or all these small gamer channels are jealous, or it's just constantly over and over again. He's just yapping about bullshit to try and make it seem like he's the righteous one, or Smash is the righteous one, and all these other people are just jealous little losers.
Some subscribers, the logical fallacy lies in the point that they think for every subscriber that unsubscribes from the channel they hate, they will gain that subscriber. It does not work that way. It's insanity. That is not how it works. There's still going to be like 20 other channels that they regularly watch. They might unsubscribe from one channel. Doesn't mean they're going to go to you. They might still think you, Mr. McDizzle, are still a piece of shit for doing this. So maybe they'll unsub from Smashjt'S, but they're not going to run over to you as if you're now the paragon of virtue.
Where has McDizzle said that that's what he's trying to do, is steal from Smashjt'S? I can tell you this. It's proven time and time again when this kind of drama happens, is that most of the time fans aren't going to leave. I mean, you have to do something absolutely horrendous. And I said this the last time when I was talking about Smash himself, but Destiny is the perfect example of this. He did some of the most horrendous shit. And while he did lose a big amount of his audience and while it seems he's lost a big amount of his audience and some of the, and just about all of the orbiters that are around him, he still has people defending him sending nudes of other people without their consent. So, I don't think anyone who's coming into this space believes that they're going to pull subscribers from another YouTuber. That's just fucking dumb.
That they were actually looking for. You have done nothing to better your situation, and you've only made the world a worse place. You're retarded and utterly stupid, and it is time, absolutely, at this point, to announce that we hit the goal. We absolutely hit the goal, which means we made some money. And you know who hates that? You know who hates that?
Money, cash, money, capitalism, raise a bunch of money, more.
God.
3 straight hours, so it really grows on you. I think, yeah, you're right, that is an absolute bop, isn't it? It really grows on you. It really does. I think when I first made it, I was like, I've been sitting at this, listening to this tune for like 3 straight hours, so it didn't have the power anymore. But now I only hear it every couple of days or so. I'm like, yeah, this is a fucking jam. I enjoy it. 1 second, my voice is dying. Hydration. You gotta get it. James Op jumps in for $2 and says, lol, Alyssa is now a reactionary grifter. Check DM. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Oh my. What the fuck? What the fuck is this? A new clip from my latest stream, Premier Games Joe. Ironically, now.
I don't care about Alyssa. Oh god, that's
oh right, Mephisto X, thank you very much for that. Okay, we've got a couple more minutes. I can watch a bit more of this video before we have to wrap things up. And I guess I'll ask you guys, as I've started doing, when do you want me to stream some Doom? Obviously, I think if I leave it until the sort of time where I would normally be streaming WTF Live, then I'll be able to go longer, potentially. Although, to be fair, it is Wednesday. I don't know. Let me see. Do you want me to start it in 3 hours from now or in 8 hours from now? Or maybe 9 hours from now? Because that will definitely, it'd probably be easier if it was in 9 hours for me, because then I can have dinner, say goodnight to the wife and the baby, and go for a few hours on Doom. Whereas if it's in 3 hours, I probably will have to either split it and do it over 2 days or various other things. So let me know in the chat. There's a poll out there. You can vote. Okay, let's watch some video.
Smash actively wants to see fail. They don't need his help.
4 hours from now, more people will be awake in the US. All right, well, just vote, guys. That's the only way to make it fair.
They might do it on their own, but we'll see. Again, making assumptions based on nebulous information. And I apologize to the developer for that, because he didn't take that into account in the social experiment. And it sucks that Smash posted your information in order to own me or something. However, Smash is the one that shares information with tens of thousands of people. This is what Smash said about vetting the insider initially.
You're probably right. It'll probably be better in like 3 or 4 hours, but we'll see.
My insider reached out to me, and while I don't want to go into much detail, I will say I don't know this individual, but I have personally verified who they are by the name that they gave me and the credentials that they showed. So
this was simply a name and a role and some stuff that's incorrect in there. I mean, when you have a website that's dedicated
If you're watching this and you haven't voted, do vote. Right now, 9 hours is winning.
to showing
This is
off
like
people
the
that
meetup.
65 people
Why
watching,
aren't
only
we-
22 votes so far. Vote, guys.
include some of the worst writers, editors, and others who have contributed to the downfall of game journalism over the years for various
Dude, you can't lump Smashjt'S in with Kotaku, okay? They're binary opposites.
reasons. It's just wild to me.
Yeah, yes, you can. They both. All right, let's see the comparisons. They both they both use yellow journalism. Okay, they both do that, sensationalizing the subject. They've both gotten information incorrect. I mean, there's more. I can't think of them, but it's not a terrible comparison to say. They've both been outed as bad journalists. It's the same thing. You just don't like this because it's the message that he gives, the message that you want to hear.
That you would have such low standards. And this isn't just a gut out of nowhere, it's watching a pattern. Like having significant gripes with mainstream journalism, and some of them may be legitimate, but to practice this and pass it off as journalism is just wild. Or
No, it's not. It's fucking not wild at all. Smashjt has a greater accuracy ratio than actual mainstream news. They constantly peddle their fucking lies and conjecture on the news. In fact, the mainstream media has a really bad record of deliberately spreading lies, hit pieces, and misinformation. We all know this. It's one of the reasons Trump is president again. You are a fucking retard.
not to at least hold yourself to that
And worse, you're not a journalist at all. You're a troll.
same standard. Or what's
He can't be a journalist. He's a troll. There we go. Same fucking thing.
standard you would like to see? And sure, you could
And here's the point about, like, yeah, there's this whole, thing with the media and what's true and what's false. And there's some agreement that I have there for that. But how is Smash doing the same practices or even worse in some cases because he's not vetting his sources, different than what the mainstream media was doing. How is he making quote unquote Gamergate better if he's using the same things that the mainstream media is doing?
You could say, this isn't journalism. I'm just talking about a rumor with my friends.
This motherfucker is sitting here at the start of this going, if you're here because you hate me, give this video a chance. Well, buddy, I've given you 10 minutes of my life, and you have not impressed me remotely.
You've ignored half of the information that's come out.
But the end result is closer to tabloid journalism for gaming. And
If that's tabloid journalism, then what is this? This is Take a Break magazine. Oh, I married my stepfather. I married my father-in-law. You know, I'm having a baby with my husband and his brother. That kind of stupid fucking bullshit headline crap that comes out that's even lower on the totem pole than tabloid.
You know, people overuse the word sweeping in many cases, where if you say anything positive about somebody, that you're sweeping for them. But this is an actual fucking case of sweeping. He hasn't engaged with any of the information about JT himself. He's just constantly pushing over to other information. McDizzle broke the law, which he hasn't gone into any detail of why he's broken the law, or you know what factors. You see, you're not a journalist, you're a troll. It's put the broom down, dude, and watch the video.
Journalism.
that's all right, but we got to talk about the obvious. Does he want mainstream media to disappear and be replaced by him with those same standards? In this case, probably
Now that actually is the most interesting question of the law, and I don't know if that's what he wants. It is, however, what I want.
lower. Make it make sense. Do they want him to have the exact same politics as him in every case? What?
No. No one is that simple. No one's that basic. What are you, a cartoon? Fuck's sake.
Is it? And if you don't want a standard in journalism, that's all right too.
No, we need standards in journalism, but it is okay to make the odd mistake thanks to some douchebag who shows up to deliberately give you a false tip. And if you happen to bite that and run with it, and it turns out that you were tricked or made into some kind of lolcow or hoax temporarily, the best possible course of action is to immediately issue a retraction. And unlike the mainstream journo trash who never issue a true retraction, look at Alyssa Mercante when she was fucking caught misrepresenting the guy Kochelkov who made Farm Folks. Yeah. What did she do? She didn't issue a fucking proper retraction. She didn't update the actual article. She had like one paragraph at the end to say this guy doesn't agree with my representation of him, but your mileage might vary. That's not a retraction. That's not journalistic integrity. That is begrudging tacit acknowledgement that someone does have a legal claim to being represented how they actually intended to be represented. Okay? What did Smashjt'S do when this turned out to be a big pile of bullshit? He flipped on his camera, on his phone, no less, and immediately issued a video.
Okay, so he mentions that she put it at the end of the video. But I haven't seen the Smash. Let's see here. Is there the video that he comes in and says that he did it wrong? Hot tub. Oh, look, all of his streams are members only anyway, so it doesn't look like I can see it. Maybe it's on X, but what I see and what the majority of people have seen. Let's see here. What the fuck? Failing. BioWare announces. Of course, I can't find it. My dyslexic brain can't pick through all the same fucking pictures. Not that I'm any better. Chill. Insane lawsuit. Where are the videos? Latest videos. 12 days ago. Let's go back. We're about what? Writers, Warhorse Studio founder. What happened to these videos? What the fuck? There's one. Ubisoft lawyers respond. So there's a cease and desist one. I know further down here is the video. The video that he made down here somewhere that he called himself out, it was like a couple of minutes of him saying that, you know, I got caught. And then the rest of it is him talking about how much of a troll McDizzle is, putting out his personal information. Then his next video is I got a cease and desist. Only a small portion of it is about the cease and desist. The rest of it is him talking about McDizzle's side of the cease and desist and what he thinks is going on. Then he makes another video saying how he's not wrong, that McDizzle is a fucking troll and broke the law and blah, 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 blah. Like he hasn't he hasn't shown any transparency. People who have reached out to him have also asked, where's the transparency? What are you doing to fix the problem? What's your process? And he won't answer. He's vague. He won't answer how he's changing or what he's doing or what his journalistic process is. We're probably honestly not going to watch this video. I don't know that. This guy is, not only is he infuriating because of his retardation, but he's also incredibly boring to listen to. You're not engaging with it. And I can tell you right now that you're not going to finish the video. Yeah, you don't finish the video.
Saying, yeah, you know what, I was had, but it's important to me that you guys trust me, so I need to let you know exactly how it worked, how it went down, and how I will avoid letting that happen again. And you know the result? I trust him more.
What you want, man? It's working out good. But it's tough to take your criticism.
Well, yeah, you suckle on his cock all day, and he's your friend. So, all right, let's not be as hyperbolic. You're his friend. That means that you have a bias. You're always going to have a stronger bias towards your friend in these situations. The hardest thing to do is step off to the side and say, well, was Smash wrong in this in any way?
Criticisms around mainstream media seriously when this type of behavior.
Seriously, there is nothing like a good old-fashioned mea culpa to let people know where you stand. And then they can decide whether they want to get in line or go off and do something else. And that is, of course, their right. That is something, unfortunately, that you have to do if you end up getting caught out in something. And Smashjt'S had the fucking balls to go out there and put out a video on Front Street and say, you guys, I got it wrong. I've been tricked. It was not true. I'm not very impressed with the ethics of the guy who tricked me. And I don't believe that it's got anything to do with journalistic integrity. But nonetheless, got to tell you, you're going to have to just disregard that story for now. Boom. Done. And I think to myself, okay, this guy really does care. He doesn't care about preserving himself. He cares about the validity of the story. What do we know from this guy, McDizzle? All he cares about is himself and his fucking gotcha. It's bleeding out of every subtextual fucking inflection in his voice. Absolutely fucking batshit insane to release this video and try and make it look like you are in any way the moral arbiter or the ethical arbiter of journalism, when this is your take. You are...
I missed that again, and I don't remember what he said here. Hold on.
You represent it. Okay? What did Smashjt do when this turned out to be a big pile of...
Okay.
I was had, but it's important to me that you guys trust me. I trust him more.
Yeah, I know.
Like a good old-fashioned mea
We know
culpa
you're...
to let people know where you stand. And then they can decide whether they want to get in line or go off and do something else. And that is, of course, their right. That is something, unfortunately, that you have to do if you end up getting caught out in something. And Smashjt had the fucking balls to go out there and put out a video on Front Street and say, you guys, I got it wrong. I've been tricked. It was not true. I'm not very impressed with the ethics of the guy who tricked me. And I don't believe that it's got anything to do with journalistic integrity. But nonetheless, got to tell you, you're going to have to just disregard that story for now. Boom. Done. And I think to myself, okay, this guy really does care. He doesn't care about preserving himself. He cares about the validity of the story.
I just...
What do we know from this guy, McDizzle?
I can't keep yelling the same stuff over and over again. It's just brain dead, this guy's takes.
He cares about is himself and his fucking gotcha. It's bleeding out of every subtextual fucking inflection in his voice. Absolutely fucking batshit insane to release this video and try and make it look like you are in any way the moral arbiter or the ethical arbiter of journalism, when this is your take. You are a by any means necessary guy who will do anything to take down the people above you on the ladder. You are not, in fact, trying to improve journalism. You are just using that as a mask to cover your fucking impotent rage that Smashjt is more successful than you. Probably more than you'll ever be. How long you had a channel? 6,000 subs?
Demonstrates that you're no better than them. And come on, man, the only thing hurt was your pride a little bit. I heard you made over $1,800 in donations talking about me, and that's awesome.
Yeah, he did. I remember it. It was hilarious.
Man, get your money, homie. Lots of it around for everybody.
Except you.
Nothing I say or do is going to change that.
Oh, dear. McDizzle Gaming.
And here's what I'm talking about. Why do we care about fucking pulling up Social Blade? Like, what does this have to do with anything? His Social Blade doesn't prove that he's right. This has nothing to fucking do with anything. You're just so fucking cucked into the views that you think this is what matters.
Now, of course, obviously, Social Blade is not accurate. It doesn't actually represent really what a channel actually earns. Like, for example, let's just look at my own Social Blade at the moment. That says I make $4,000 a year. Guys, if I was making $4,000 a year on YouTube, my family would be dead. Okay. No, unfortunately, I'm very happy to report I make more than that. Thanks to you guys, I make more than that. But this is saying this guy only makes $800 a year. Now, again, he probably makes more than that. Probably double at least. Don't know, but probably. And that's something you could probably reasonably set your watch by. But this guy's now saying, oh, make your money, homie. Plenty of it around for everybody. Smashjt made more than double this amount in one live stream. Talking about this guy. That must make him fucking furious. Fucking furious. Cope. coping and seething. We are out.
This is, I mean, this is just sad at this point. Trying to estimate how much money McDizzle makes so you can, what, prove that because he's not making a lot of money, he's wrong? Fucking. I'll say Will is worse. He's worse than Smash in that he's just a wretched little fucking drone on his knees waiting for fucking Smashjt'S come to dribble onto his face so that he can enjoy the sweet taste of it. It's absolutely disgusting what this fucking guy does. He doesn't think critically. He's not an arbiter of information. He's a fucking parrot.
Out of time for the video, but here's
You are
this.
coping and seething. You just can't.
That was funny that came up right there. But it's like he said, he wants to believe that everybody is this coping and seething because they're not making money. It can't ever be because they think Smashjt is wrong in something, or that Smashjt actually did something wrong in the way he vetted people. It's always got to be something else. People can't have differing opinions. They can only have my opinion. Again, very lefty behavior.
Can't accept what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping and seething.
And that's pretty much the end of it. This song, he doesn't watch the rest of the video. Let's see what he says about it.
Interesting take there. $4,000 a year in Russia could feed you for that year. You know, when I first went to the Philippines, I could probably survive on that. Probably. But it was just me in a low rent studio condo. And now there's me, my wife, my dad, my wife's sister, my kid, and the new kid coming. So, you know, and a house and a car and a motorbike. And you pick up stuff as you take more and more responsibility, which is why I'm always really deep down from the bottom of my heart so fucking grateful for you guys every time you help me burst through the goal of a stream. And well, we've certainly accomplished that stream again in 3 hours now, and we'll see how it goes as we try to figure out when I'm streaming, because I will go with the result of this poll. That's the only way I can do it fairly. I will have to. Okay, you got about 15 seconds left if you still haven't voted. Actually, it's sudden death. The next vote will be the deciding vote. Somebody who hasn't voted yet. That's it. We got it. It's 9 hours, guys. I'll be back. I did. No choice besides. Apologies if that's not the most convenient times. I'll be back in 9 hours' time. I've updated them. I usually the correct.
So it's. So, all right. It's just absolutely bad. This guy is so disingenuous. He doesn't fight with any of his arguments. At least I've seen some of the other people have talked about what actually happened. You know what I mean? They've talked about the problems in McDizzle and what McDizzle did, or others have stayed out of it. Like I don't think Hypno has said much of anything on this situation, which to me is just as right as calling him out, right? You can make the choice to when you have such close ties to the person that's in trouble, I think you really have two choices. You can try to put your biases aside, make clear what your biases are in that situation, and then try to look at it from the lens of someone else, someone who is not biased like you. That's hard to do. That's probably the hardest option. The other option is to just stay out of it, not talk about the situation, and go from there. Which is kind of like there's two examples. I think, like I said, I'm trying to. Okay, hypnotic. Let's go to videos. You know, I think those are the two options, and I think there are good examples of those two options. Women, 12 days ago. Alyssa McConte lawsuit. Yeah, I don't really I don't really see any talk on his YouTube channel. Let's look at Hypno. Where is Hypno? Let's see, maybe I can find it from his webpage. He's got me blocked too. I guess he didn't like the things I said to what's his name? To Will. Which is fair. Twitter, there it is. Real Hypnotic. March 6th. Maybe he said something in, the tweets and things like that, but I haven't seen anything really pushed out that he said. So, I mean, he hasn't made like his own video or his own kind of statement with the situation. Let's see. Yeah, nothing directly that I can see. If anyone watches this video and they do find something, they send it to me. But so far, it's to him, it's kind of like kept silent about it. So I don't consider that the wrong thing. If you don't want to talk about the situation, don't talk about the situation. If you want to talk about the situation, you need to put those fucking bias aside, bud. Those ridiculous ideas that you keep, and put your sweeping broom around away, and try and talk about it objectively, right? Not just name call and say, oh, you're doing it for money and all this other bullshit that you've come up with in this fucking video. I mean, fucking awful behavior. So let's find something else to watch. I want to do the second video. The only thing that I can say about the second video, let me pull up my playlists on here, because we will look at something in here. This is something I'm noticing on all of these channels. And playlists is, where are you? There we are. Rest in peace, celebrities. Woman, McDiddled, Crash Out. It's Hyperdrive. Here it is. The cease and
Man, being
desist.
friends.
One thing I notice about all these guys is they're constantly reading Smash's stuff, and I don't understand. Like I can get bringing it up as part of it, like, hey, here's what Smashjt'S said, here's what some other people said, and give your points, I guess. But a lot of it is just parroting the same information that was already out there. It's weird to me. It's just absolutely weird. Like, why this segment is him talking about the video and then bringing up tweets. Like, what value is there in your content with that much? Like, why? I don't know. This is weird to me, but I digress. Let's move on. There was McDizzle put out a video. I wanted to take a look at it because he made another Grums video. What we got new today? Gotcha. Did he put out? Let's see. There's McDizzle. I wonder. Smashjt wants to sue me. It gets worse. Didn't he put out a new one? Okay. No, that's the suing one. There's a lot that I disagree. Maybe we'll watch this one and see about this McDizzle video.
Talking about It has been an interesting couple of weeks with me and Smashjt'S, and we're going to talk about it right now. He has been obsessed with me from his videos to his live streams to his news articles. I mean, if you really want my attention, you should buy me dinner at least, man. And I got the army of smashers and bottom feeders coming after me. Like and share this video because I got some big voices in gaming that want to shut me up. If Smash wants to react to this, I know he tried in my last video, and I think the subject matter was challenging for him. I made some bingo cards for some things that Smash will probably say during the video. Winner's get an all-expense paid trip to his Shag Shack. Yeah, gross. Now, I've been pretty respectful up to this point. But yeah, not gonna be quite as nice. We're gonna talk about everything that's happened up till now. Did Smash potentially break any laws? Did I potentially break any laws? We're also gonna talk about Smash's veiled threats of lawsuits. Dude is so bent out of shape, I can't take accountability for him being a moron. Let's be objective, let's be fair, but I'll definitely talk some shit back at this idiot. Keep in mind, this man-child would fold in just a few minutes in an actual conversation. Hey, if I were him, I wouldn't want to look any more dumb than I already do. And that's on him. I'm not his parents. I didn't give him the genetics to make him this fucking stupid. I'm not responsible for his stupid reactions to shit. I've been investigating the anti-woke news space for some time. A big part of that is using anonymous sources to help drive narratives. Now, Smash isn't the only one guilty of this. There's other content creators, but what makes Smash's case more unique is that he does cosplay as a journalist. And that's no matter how he self-identifies. He has a gaming news website, he does gaming news, he monetizes that gaming news for early smashers. When Elon Musk complains about gaming journalism, he wants to shill his website the situation, talking about me for a good portion of it.
Like
Brother has that
understand
McDizzle
who
DLC
Smash
all
is.
ready to go. Don't forget the numerous articles on smashjt.com because he is a journalist. Oh, and all the live streams. He's obsessed, so upset that some people find this really interesting. People noticed numerous trends of Smash's reporting on various topics and had a lot of questions. Now, I'm not the arbiter of truth or the media. I can only give my perspective from my investigations, and it's been driving a group of anti-woke folks crazy. People get mad when misinformation.
I will say this, McDizzle, if you ever watch this, it might help you to write a script because you do kind of go all over the place, especially in this beginning part and in the last video. So it might do you to get a script written up so you can kind of stay on point and get through, because we're 3 minutes into the video and we still haven't started talking about the subject, right? So that's one criticism.
Is addressed. And instead of talking it out like men, here's a trend between Smash and Grums that you can find pretty similar. Both guys say they're right like 95% of the time, and both of them don't have the guts to actually have a conversation with me. One-on-one, air your grievances, be able to move forward. However, they won't have a one-on-one conversation because it would be a zero benefit to them. Now, how do I, a YouTube channel that's like 6,500-ish people or so, get these guys so mad? They'll be like, "You're obsessed with Grums, brother." And they all have new
Okay.
The 5-6 videos on Grums and Ember are like, "Well, you know what, brother? You're obsessed with Grums, but you should check out my 55 video Alyssa Mercante playlist." Yeah, brother, I'm going to put on some of the old Alyssa gear, and you've got 50, 60 videos about the same person? You're a fucking weirdo. But I guess everyone defines obsession differently. These guys don't want people reporting on them. YouTube. 8-Bit Eric's a good start. The guy's a fucking joke. LolCow Live didn't even want him, and his claim to fame is calling like a 16-year-old girl a whore. Judge me by my enemies. He's just one example of Smash's bottom feeders that wants to talk a lot of shit. Smash and Grums have floated the idea of trying to sue me or press charges. This is just a technique to attempt to silence me from the recently featured in Russian state-sponsored media Grums, and Mr. Smash, who seems to think because he's a fucking idiot that something's illegal. The Canadian justice system will not help you resolve those issues. And if you're like, "Hey brother, you did do something illegal, you stole someone's identity." In a legal sense, no I didn't, and we'll take a look at that. Again, acknowledging the moral, legal, and ethical questions. Things that I don't think Smash really evaluates or thinks about very much. Now, people can sue people for whatever they want, they can press charges on people for whatever they want, or they can try. And Smash, as a wealthy man from California, do not try any frivolous litigation with me because you will look like a bitch. If you value your reputation anyway, people will be laughing their ass off at you. Legal actions often have legal reactions.
I mean, so far this video just kind of sounds like He's mad. I need. Yeah, he floated that idea around, but it seems like it's in a joking manner for them. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's going to get into more information about it, but I doubt Smash has any. I would hope that Smash doesn't have any intent to try and file some kind of lawsuit. I don't know. What would he file it on?
Don't try to intimidate me, you swamp donkey. Him and his
The video's not even up. Let's fix that. That's what I get for paying attention. Okay. There we go. There we go. At least most of it's just gameplay on top and you hearing me talk about it. But now it'll at least be a little bit more entertaining, we'll say.
cartoon uncle are pretty damn upset with me right now. And Grums, regarding legal queries, don't you have a backer currently planning a class action lawsuit? And you are just a whisper away from legal trouble because your backers can't actually cancel their accounts. Oh, and isn't Ember out already on Steam? Watch out for Lady Concord, she'll get you every time. It's a cuck simulator about a guy named Mark called Ember. Again, it's not my fault you act like a fucking idiot. I mentioned Grums because Smash is like, McDizzle is mad because I guess I don't hate Grums enough. Dude, I don't care if you're a fan of Grums. In fact, someone who subscribes to Grums and is a fan of them reached out to me the other day to even check in with me that I'm friends with. Or at very least are cordial with. The only thing I've called out regarding that is your blind shilling, which isn't surprising considering your history of being an Amico shill. Just a transition to an anti-woke shill. I think it's important to know that the legacy media is dying, and this is what is replacing it. Like the whole Kotaku Mr. Beast thing. Kotaku really fucked up. It is important to hold them accountable in 2025, especially in the gaming space. Gamers that are brain dead see these patterns. And also within the scope of yellow journalism is sensationalism, and we got some real-time examples to take a look at it, and it's fascinating. And within that scope of sensationalism, as we've all seen, especially over the last year or so, comes misinformation. And in this video, we're going to talk real-time.
Okay, again, I think this would really be helpful for the script, because, like, yeah, if you're going to bring up, like, this picture, let's talk about this picture, because I think, you know, this is a good point, talking about the sensationalism of the anti-woke movement. Like, there's this idea, there's one idea that's put out that says, make games for yourself, stop putting your propaganda into gaming profiles that all exist. But then when someone makes a game for themselves, like this game, which another incorrect statement from what I understand, Sweet Baby Inc. was not involved with this. So, you know, talk about this issue as you bring it up. Like, this game came out, this is this and this and this what happened, you know. Do more of the reporting, and, you know, it calmed down a little bit on the kind of spurring back and forth with subjects.
Especially over the last year or so, comes misinformation. And in this video, we're going to talk real time how that's actually happening, including Smash's sensationalism driving people to think that I have some kind of legal trouble. I have no pending litigation, just a cease and desist as Smash has had. Unlike Smash, I have 0 lawsuits. So here's the objective situation. At least from my perspective, and I try to be pretty damn fair. This is kind of what kicked off things. Here's a clip from my investigation into the yellow journalism of Smashjt'S. Let's take a look. If you are a journalist and you have a website that you provide gaming news to people, even if you make content on the side, you're going to get questioned if the information seems illegitimate. But do gamers want that information thrown out into the collective zeitgeist without a high level of confidence that it's correct? We're going to talk about at least how some of that information way typically been explored, but we're going to do as well as report today. This type of content is like the tabloids of video games. Now, do I think yellow video game journalism should exist? Sure, but gamers like accuracy, and Kahlo, who's on YouTube.
Okay, the same
Personal
video.
message to John, you're a freak, but maybe we'll explore that in another video. Go with Smash on his perceived contributions of an employee and their alleged impact to the destruction of Concord. The information was so off that a Concord employee reached out to me, one that I did verify. I did a couple of things to reach a high level of confidence with that source. For example, I reviewed their profile next. They weren't hiding anything. Or for another that corroborated things, they could send some proof. I guess the point being, if someone trusts you enough as a conduit of the information that they want to provide, it's going to be more than a name and a role from a random email or any public information. This was not complex. Smash is just an idiot, and taking it at face value has a massive risk for misinformation. However, based on accounts from 4 other people that I was actually able to verify, a number of things that he said were factually wrong. You can check that video out if you want. And you know what? He might have talked to somebody there, and maybe that was their experience. However,
I would also stick to mostly a critique of this video because we are 10 minutes in, and you haven't really gotten into any of the meat of the subject. Script again, and stick to one gaming video. I guess you could switch to the gaming videos when you're talking about that particular game subject, but we've got like 5 different games, and it is like activating my ADHD.
a number of his statements were very broad and reaching and, well, not correct based on my research. Either way, that drew me further into heavy skepticism of anything Smashjt was reporting. Okay, rewind to a few weeks ago. I got a message indicating that Smash
Okay, this is
will
the
print
same video.
anything to go to LinkedIn, anything, and touch
Yeah, we've
it.
talked
However,
about
ended up
this.
leaking all. Veilguard sales numbers, internal culture war, and layoffs incoming.
Okay.
Now, we do know layoffs did happen, but this specific piece right here was kind of funny. Let's find it.
Okay.
This part about a private chat group at BioWare with more than 10 people in it that follow his content specifically, that's pretty made up. Allegedly. And again, I would be happy to be proven wrong. That specific article was written just hours after this was sent by this gentleman. I have a level of skepticism with this, of course, because the BioWare layoffs did happen. Although I disagree with this guy's approach. I followed up to flag this just shortly after his video was posted. This dude just left it. I think that's 1, incredibly irresponsible, and 2, I'm doing it as part of a social experiment and an investigation. Now what
I hate the word social experiment. Like, say you're doing it as part of an investigation, but the social experiment people, that's like the language that the pranksters used to use back in the day to try and get away with doing fucking crazy shit. So I would say investigation in it and get a little bit more clear and concise. It's definitely better than the first video I ever watched of you. But I think you could do with a script again, 3rd time, 4th time I've said it, and a little bit more consistency in the areas that you're talking about.
What dude did really helped no one, but it did tip me off to this. As I do think it is in the public's best interest to know what goes in the background and verifying sources for things that go out there into the cultural zeitgeist. So I gave it a try, again, with just a name and a role. Within a few hours, an article and a video was up. Now, Smash might make the argument, well, I checked to see if this person...
Okay, this isn't new information for me. I was thinking this is something that I hadn't fully watched yet, but I have. So we'll probably cut this one out here soon, but it's crazy the sweeping that's gone on for the different groups that have gone on in here. Is there anything interesting to watch? I should have set up more content. It's fine. I came around and did what I set out to do, and let's talk about Will of the Fans. Again, I think he's a wretched little individual who can't even put his bias aside for a second to do anything but sweep for his overlord. He's a parrot sitting on the shoulders of Smashjt and others, just repeating whatever they say without any critical thinking behind it because they're saying the message that he likes. Very definition of the problem that the anti-woke movement has currently at this time. So, with that, I think we're going to call it here. I'm probably going to try and cut up this video. Oh, Oh, dang, I had the video going there too. That's not what I wanted. I wanted my opening. There we go. I'm going to cut up this video and put out a smaller version. I might do the same thing. I probably should do the same thing with the Smash video so that there are videos on the front side of my channel. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming by or watching the video. If you like the video, like and subscribe, and have a wonderful day.